10 years after Colorado lawmakers legalized medical marijuana, they're starting to wish they'd done it differently.
We didn't really know very much about it, and it's been an interesting journey to try to get our arms around what's going on. And I only regret that we didn't get better advice from someone going into the process.
By the end of the year 2000, there were only 2,000 registered medical marijuana users in the state of Colorado. Then, in 2009, President Obama banned the Drug Enforcement Administration from prosecuting in states with medical marijuana laws.
To go from 2,000 users in 9 years, from 2000 to 2009, to 100,000 almost in 1 year, was astronomical.
With that demand, dispensaries grew like weeds.
At that time, there were some rather entrepreneurial individuals who started opening what they call dispensaries. Dispensaries grew from just a couple in 2009 to hundreds, which we have in Colorado now. This issue is truly a runaway train.
It's a runaway train. The enforcement director for the Colorado Department of Revenue, Matt Cook, says they only recently have been able to regulate.
With the expansion of the number of patients, and we have seen some abuses out there, there was a need for some protections to be put in place.
It's regulation that has been successful so far.
This regulatory scheme will work. It's going to take some education with the industry, the general public, and our lawmakers as we move forward, but we have a partnership and it works pretty well.
Still, it's something some Colorado lawmakers wish they'd done sooner.
I would strongly encourage the lawmakers in South Dakota to craft bills going into the 2011 session to deal with the marijuana issue, to regulate the industry before it gets up and running, should this measure pass in South Dakota.
So as Colorado plays the catch-up game, at least one South Dakota senator says he's getting a head start on legislation.
If the amendment would pass, I will absolutely introduce very stringent legislation to avoid the sort of problems that have arisen in Colorado.
Rachel Embler, Coda Territory News. Mary Jane, ganja, weed, pot. There are many names for the recreational drug that's illegal in many states, but in the 14 states that have legalized marijuana for patients, it's taken on a new name, pain reliever.
One of our main mission statements was safe access to safe medicine.
Sam Crenshaw, the manager of the longest continually running dispensary in Fort Collins, Colorado, says getting that medicine to those who need it is a fulfilling job.
We get a lot of people who just pretty much were vegetables, were addicted to painkillers, were just in a really bad way, and medical cannabis has completely changed their lives. So.
While the chemical THC does have effects such as relieving pain and stirring the appetite, doctors still debate the benefits of the drug. Some find issue with the link to cigarettes.
There are some cancer links to it, however, so we do have to be aware of that. But these are long-term effects, just like smoking.
Even so, Dr. Kevin Weiland says he's for it.
It does have some pros in the fact that we have another arsenal of medications that we can treat chronic pain or the end-of-life issues and the pain issues with end-of-life.
He says it could end up being a cheaper option.
I can't tell you exactly what the cost is, but I do think it's a cheaper alternative to some of the medications that might be out there that are prescribed, such as morphine sulfate or MS-Contin and some of these other drugs.
But he warns that regulation is necessary.
I do feel that the physician should be in control of this, as I do think it is a very powerful substance and it can be abused.
While Dr. Weiland supports the drug, some reputable medical organizations have come out against it. Weiland says it's just a matter of doing your research.
I think once more studies come out, I think more physicians will bring more of a positive stance to it. Once the American Medical Association, once the Cancer Institute starts saying, this is an alternative to the end of life, or the Chronic Pain Institute say this is an alternative to this and this, I think more of us will say this is probably not a bad thing to do.
Rachel Embler, Coda Territory News.
You said you want me to
Dispensary manager Sam Crenshaw started working at the Medicinal Gardens of Colorado about a year ago.
It's a very rewarding job, actually. I really enjoy helping out the folks that come through.
While rewarding, he says dispensary owners have had some trouble with their growing business. Perhaps the biggest hurdle was the FDIC not allowing banks to handle dispensary money.
It was a nightmare to start off with. Just finding a bank that would process our credit card transactions or that would even keep our money was very difficult. We ended up actually working with a credit union.
The enforcement director for the Colorado Department of Revenue, Matt Cook, says this green industry is also giving the government some trouble.
It really is a budding industry, and I mean, anytime you develop a new program, especially dealing with people that are not used to regulatory oversight, they don't understand that by holding a privileged license, you oftentimes give up some of your Fourth Amendment protection. And that's the reality of it here.
The number of dispensaries went from just a few in 2009 to the hundreds in Colorado today, leaving lawmakers scrambling to figure out how to deal with the new flow of money.
The legislature set this up as a cash fund, meaning that the industry itself pays for the regulatory functions of the industry.
While the law has yet to pass in South Dakota, one local lawmaker is already working on the economics of the industry.
It could be an industrial possibility for South Dakota under the regulation of the Department of Health, and it could well be profitable.
So that maybe South Dakota can avoid the troubles that plague Colorado. Rachel Lembler, Coda Territory News.